Subscribe, please.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I am here with a video that I am all kinds of sad to have to be making. This is something that really disappointed me. I heard about this earlier today, and I went and did some digging and searching, figuring out what all the deal was, and it was a big disappointment. And let me say right off the bat, that I like GMT as a company. I've always liked their products. Their components are always really good. They take care of their customers. Their customer service is a little slower than others, but they're bigger than some of the other wargaming companies. So if you're smaller, you can interact with your customers a little easier than if you're bigger. I mean, it's just part of business. No big deal. But for the most part, they strive to do a good job. I haven't had any major issues with them prior to now. And I'm sure many of you who are into the wargaming scene already know what I'm going to say before I say it. But their decision to take and cancel Scramble for Africa was a bad one. And I'm going to preface that by saying that it's not because I'm diehard for someone to make a game about this subject. Okay? It's really not. The subject itself, it's just history. Okay? It's no different to me than any other section of history in which a war game has been made of. Okay? There are good things, bad things, all throughout history. The problem comes when we start deciding we can pick and choose what's appropriate to cover historically and what's not. History is one of those things that everyone should know as much as they possibly can about it to make sure that the mistakes that were made don't get repeated. And unfortunately, in today's world, the PC culture in which we live in is striving to delete parts of history that they don't like under some misguided impression that if we delete it from the books and from movies and from games and from everything else, then that means it never happened, which couldn't be further from the truth. I saw some people commenting on this, and of course the comment was brought up of this being a slippery slope. And some people were arguing against it. You know, well, some things are appropriate and some things aren't. No, this is a slippery slope. All it takes is one game being shut down because someone found it offensive to start the slope, to start the slippery slide to having more games shut down because someone found it offensive. We already have issues with Facebook taking and blocking war games. I know guys who have tried to take and post games up for sale, and just due to the titles, their ad gets taken down because of Facebook's BS algorithm. Same thing happens to me on YouTube. A lot of my videos get demonetized, like Stalingrad. If I put up Stalingrad, Inferno, and the Volga, all those got demonetized because it said Stalin in the name. And I mean, come on, it's historical wargaming. Plenty of them are going to say Stalin or Hitler or this or that or whatever. And we just get crushed right off the bat, and there's nothing we can do about it. We can't say, look, this is a board game, you know, it's nothing bad. It's nothing PC. You guys don't have to demonetize it, but you know, we get shut down. Anyway, but that's from the outside. This here, this is an inside threat. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, war game company bending the knee to political pressure. Bending the knee to social justice pressure from people to take away what they find offensive. And I'm sorry, but I agree with others that facts don't care about your feelings. History is what it is. And the more people who know about as much of history as they can. I mean, age appropriate. I wouldn't teach the bad parts of history to young children, obviously. But as you get older, you can know the bad stuff that happened and know, okay, well, that was an atrocity. That was a bad thing. And I don't care how that information gets relayed to you. A movie, a book, or a game in which you can have fun, but you're going to think back later and go, hey, while we were playing that, this is what that represented. This is what I've learned from that. I've learned lots of history myself from playing these board games. I got into war games a few years ago, and to me it was just cool. Like, hey, I can set up a huge game that covers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet worth of table, and they've got all these cool little counters, and it represents all of the Pacific or all of Europe during World War II, or even the whole world. And a lot of those games came with little booklets of historical blurbs of what was going on during that time frame, or just little blurbs that were in the rule book, wherever it was. It had little snippets of history put into it. And there were many times that I would take and I would read the manual, or I would read whatever part of the game it was that had that historical tidbit in it. And I go, oh, this is an interesting story. This is something I didn't know about. Let me research a little more into this. Now, I'm a little different. I majored in history in college. So history is a big thing for me regardless. Now, I have my periods that are my favorites. Pacific and World War II is one of my, top favorites. But the period in Africa that this game covers, I know very little about. I would be interested in a game like this, showing what happened. But there are too many out there nowadays who want to jump on the bandwagon that if the mainstream media wouldn't like it, then it must be bad. We've hit a point now where some people have been trained to feel guilty for things they never did, for things their ancestors may or may not have done. Now, I'll tell you, my background is Native American. Now, I've got European in there as well, but a good chunk of my background is Native American. If you guys have seen me, dark hair, dark skin. And games like Navajo Wars, that doesn't bother me. And I'm having a brain fart right now, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. Damn. I'm having a brain fart. So I'll put it in the comments or the video saying what game I'm thinking of. But there's a couple of games of that vein that cover Native American tribes during that time frame, and fighting other Indian tribes, and fighting the white settlers, stuff like that. I am not offended by GMT covering that subject. The history of my people being attacked on their land or pushed off their land. I want that subject covered. I want them to take and show what happened. And if you can do it in a fun way where I get to have a cool game to play on top of it, all the better. If you can do it in a way that I get to share that experience with others, whether it's me filming a video or a multiplayer game where people sit down and they play the game and they have fun with it and they're doing and I think this one, Scramble for Africa, was going to be a Euro style 4X building your colony, building your civilization, whatever it was going to be. I don't know if it still will be, since the PC culture has decided to shit on it, but people really need to fight back against this. And I say that with all earnesty. You have to fight back against this. It doesn't matter if you think this was an inappropriate game to make or not. It comes down to the fact that tomorrow it could be the game you made or the game you're excited about that you think there's nothing for someone to get offended about, that someone's going to take and say, no, this one bothers me, and since you shut down that one, you need to shut down this one as well. It can and will happen. It's happened to plenty of other things. Don't tell me it hasn't. This country has gone so far down the rabbit hole of, if it offends me, it's horrible and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. I mean, kiss my ass. I'm offended all the time. But I don't say people should not be allowed to speak or not be allowed to, whatever. You can't live like that. There's going to be people that offend you all throughout your life. People need to really thicken their skin a little bit, grow up, and understand that history is history. If someone makes a game about it, and I'm willing to bet that this guy would have handled the subject as delicately as possible. I know that from my reading of it, his one of the stated goals was ending slavery. Like, you got bonus points in the game if you ended slavery. And we've had other games that have covered very, very, very delicate subjects. There was one that covered the Underground Railroad during slavery in America, where slaves were trying to flee to freedom, and you were playing that, where slaves could potentially be captured. You cannot tell me there is a more potentially offensive game out there than that. I mean, covering slavery during America during that time frame. And that game was a massive success. Plenty of people have raved about it being an excellent game. I unfortunately have not had a chance to play it yet. I wouldn't mind getting a chance to play it. See what it's all about. I do believe it's by Academy Games if anyone's curious. But if we continue on the trend that we're on now, if we continue down this path where we allow people to tell us what we can and can't make a game about, what we can and can't make a movie about, what we can and can't write a book about, we're going to end up with more statues torn down, more movies shut down, more books being burned. I mean, we have literal book burnings going on in this world today. It is mind-boggling. It's fascism, shutting down things that you don't agree with. And I've got to say, I am so disappointed with GMT for caving, for tucking tail and running away from a difficult subject instead of hitting it head on and doing the right thing, standing up for the wargaming hobby, for the historical hobby, covering the difficult subject matter. So what's going to happen next time, GMT? When someone, not me, but when someone else comes to you and says that Nazis are an oppressive regime and they're horrible and they killed millions, so you can't make that game about the Nazis during World War II. No. Are you going to shut down those games? You've got plenty on the P500 that are set during World War II. I mean, plenty of people find the Nazis offensive, so you need to shut those down as well. Cancel those P500s. You have plenty of games that are set during the Civil War when slavery was being fought over. Are you going to shut down those P500s as well? Not cover the Civil War? Because that's a touchy topic. Plenty of people could be offended, and we don't want to risk offending anyone in today's world. Yeah, this is me ranting, and this is me raving about it, but it's like I've said before. If you have the ability to do something, I believe you have the responsibility to do it. And I have the ability to speak out, however small, on my little channel in defense of the wargaming hobby that I love so much. And I'm going to do it. There are going to be people that disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't care. Everyone's not going to agree with me, just like I'm not going to agree with everyone. But I will always do what I think is in the wargaming hobby's best interest. And I guarantee you making this video is not in my best interest. Because like I said, I've been working towards trying to get a good relationship, get big enough with GMT that I might get added to their reviewers list. It would definitely save me a chunk of money, but I guarantee you after making this video, they're not going to add me to that. But it at least shows you guys that, I'll be honest with you, even if it's not in my best interest, so to say, for the channel, because pissing off the big name on the block definitely isn't the way to go. I just want you guys to think about it. All right, take a little time and sit back critically and think about it. Is this something that's going to advance the hobby? Is this something that's going to make it a hobby worth playing 50 years down the road? Because I want this hobby to still exist. when my kid's an adult and has kids himself, and wants to show it on, if he's into it, he might be into something else. My little girl might be into something else, whichever, it doesn't matter. But if I could get my kids into it, I would love it. But if we continue down this track of canceling things and not producing games that some people find offensive or might think is touchy subject matter, we will continue down a road that ends, right? It will end at some point because everything out there is offensive to someone. I guarantee you. Plenty of people are going to be offended by this video. I guarantee you it gets at least 40% thumbs down up there in the like comment area, because a lot of people are hardcore into that PC culture. Can't offend anyone nowadays. You always have to worry about people's feelings. I guarantee you that's the wrong way to go. You're going to crush the hobby, especially a hobby based around history, based around all of these are delicate subjects. I mean, hell, most of the games we play are set in World War II or Civil War, potential World War III. I mean, you're telling me potential World War III isn't a touchy subject? We've got countless games on it. If anything, and this is something else just popped in my head, I'm sure there are others, but I can't think of one off the top of my head that actually covers Africa. Can anyone tell me of a game that covers Africa? I mean, tribal back in the day or modern, and I'm not just talking about like the northern tip of Africa as in World War II, where the French and the British and the Germans and Americans, all of them were fighting. That's pretty much still Europe, all right, during World War II. They just down there fighting. I'm talking about a game that actually covers Africans. Can any of you guys think of one? Because I can't. I'm sure there has to be at least one. And one of the first games coming out that would actually cover the subject is shut down because people find it offensive. It's mind-boggling that people would take and do that. I mean, that's the oppression. That's censorship at its finest. And it's cowardice to take and cave to the pressure. I would have so much more respect for a company that stands its ground and does what's right, even though some people are going to be upset by it. You're never going to make everyone happy. It's just not going to happen, right? It's impossible. But not selling something because some people are going to be upset just takes and kills your bottom dollar, because now you wouldn't have been selling that game anyway to the people who found it offensive, but you can't even sell it to the ones who didn't find it offensive and were curious about the subject and about that part of history and wanted to find out more about it. Now, instead of selling it to at least, half or however many of your customer base, now you're selling it to none of your customer base. And then you've shown that other group that once things shut down they don't like, that you'll take and bend the knee, that you'll give up and you'll get rid of things they don't like. And today it's this one. Today it's Scramble for Africa. Tomorrow it's going to be another one. And it's going to be one that you're excited about and that you're really looking forward to. And you're going to get that email from GMT telling you, nope, your P500's been canceled because Joe Blow Up the Street didn't like it. All right, guys. I know it's a little deeper than I like to go, but I've got to do what I can to take and protect the hobby. I really do, because I can't stand to see this. You guys think about what I said. Feel free to comment on it if you want. Honestly, I would do a discussion. I would do a debate on this back and forth. I don't care. This is something we can't allow. We cannot let the SJW PC culture crap come in and tear up the hobby like it's been doing to so many others. We just can't. It's already caused problems in video games and tabletop gaming and the like, and it's been hinting around at wargaming for a while. That doesn't mean wargaming can't evolve and change with the times. It just means we can't allow ourselves to be censored like this. We have to stand strong and do the right thing, even if some don't like it. All right, that's going to be it for me. You guys take care. Like I said, put your comments down below. I'm sure I'll have a doozy. You guys take care. I'll catch you in the next one.